Hello learners, welcome to Triaright. Today we will learn for this NIO, which stands for New Input and Output in Java. Now in this chapter we will be learning about the how to we will be understanding about the purpose and the structures of Java input and output. We will work with the file path and file classes also. We will perform file operations like read, write, copy, move, delete using this NIO, new input output functions. And finally, we will understanding the channels and buffers. We will be understanding the channels and buffer for basic or our basic overview, and know when and why to use the in, input and output over traditional input and output. Why to use this new input and output over this traditional input and output. So, what is Java NIO? So Java NIO, which stands for New Input and Output, was introduced in Java 1.4 and enhanced in Java 7 Plus with NIO.2. Java.NIO.5 package. Java NIO.2 is known as Java.NIO.file package. It provides a non-blocking, buffer-oriented, and faster alternative to classic input-output. Now, let us make a comparison between this input and output and this new input-output. So, coming here, we have in the beginning we have the input and output, and finally we have the NIO, which is the new input and output. So, this Java NIO, Java IO, it is taken from Java.input output. We have to import this from Java.input output, Java.io, and NIO we need to import it from Java.NIO. For blocking, yeah, this input output is compatible in both blocking. Yeah, this is compatible in blocking, and in non-blocking is optional in NIO. In non-blocking is optional. Here NIO non-blocking is optional. Now file reading. File reading is done in file reading. All the files are read on the input and output. Files are read on input and output, and the path, whatever the path is provided, that is actually usually read in this NIO. The path here, here we will read the files, and here we read the path for the particular files. Yeah, and file operations like for manual reading, writing, and oops. Here in input and output, we does the following file operations as manual. We does all the manual file operations as read, write, and loops. For utility methods in files, we use NIO use utility methods in files. We use the utility methods of the file. Yeah. For performance, okay for this IO is okay for small files. For performance, input or output files are okay for small files. For NIO, with NIO, we use it for larger files and data. Now, path and paths. Java.NIO.file, which is in Java.NIO.file. We used to read only the files in IO, but we used to study the path in NIO, which is taken from Java.NIO.files. For path replaces files to file system locations. Here it replaces the file for file system locations. We use path.get to get the path. Use path.get paths. Use paths.get to create the path objects. To create the path object, create various path object. Use .java or path.get. We use coming further. We import this from Java.NIO.file. We have to import Java.start. We have to import the first line or the function will be of class will be Java.NIO.file.star. Here it will import all the functions, classes, and everything packages from all these packages. Now it has a class path example. Suppose there is a class path example, class path example, which has a public main method line, and this path we are performing an object of this path equals path.get. We will get all the data.text. We will get all the text data for this particular path with the path. Yeah, path.get will get all the paths from this data.text, and that will be provided to this path, and that will be provided to this path. Now it will it will help us in getting the, for example, if you want to get the file name, we will be writing the message as system.println file name with the message path file name plus path dot get file name, path dot get file name. Here they will provide the path for the different file name, for the different file name. Get file name, path dot get file name. Here they will give the path for different file name that will be printed here. Here that will provide the absolute path for the absolute path. Yeah, message plus path dot. Here they will give the absolute path. Path dot to absolute path. Path dot to absolute path method that will give the absolute path for the particular path. Yeah. Now coming further, we have the utility methods. Now we have further coming further, we have the utility method also, which we first need to import from java.nio.file, then java.io exception file, and then we have to import java.util function also dot start. Yeah, which has a class NIO.write, has a class NIO.write, and public static void main string args, which is the main method line, which will throw exception. Now there is a path. There is a path which path which we make an interface for this path, which make an interface for this path. Now paths dot get NIO output text. It will get the output text. It will get all the path of this NIO output text which will be given to this path, which will be given to this path. And this list is of generic type string, which is of generic type string, which accepts lines, and that is equal to array as list. Array as list is only in the list of lines 1 and 2. In the lines 1 and 2. This will write the files. This will write the files. This will write the files, and as their paths and lines. As their paths and lines. Paths and lines. Yeah. Now coming further, we have the read from file. If we want to read from the files, we have to import from java.nio.file and import java.io.io exception. Yeah. And now we will import java.io, java.util. Now public, there is a class in class. There is a class NIO read, which has a main method line which shows IO exception, input output exceptions. Now here there is a path. Here there is a path. Here there is a path of this path, and this path will get its output from, or get its output NIO.output.text. It gets this path will get all the output from the NIO. This output, this path will get all the path of the NIO.output.text. Now it has a list of string generic type with lines named as lines. This list is named as lines, and these lines are from the files.read lines, and these lines from the path. And this for this path we have to assign the path here. Yeah, paths. These files are read from all the lines of this path. Yeah. Now it has a for each loop for string lines, for every lines that are in the lines, for every string lines, for every line that are in these lines, lines repeated list. Yeah, lines in this line, and for all the lines will be printed here. For all these functions, all the lines will be printed here. Now we will move on to the copy, move, and delete functions. Now path sources equals path.get file text. We will get the file text. Here we have the source, which we get the file text. Now here we to have the destination which will be getting all the get copy text, which will have the destination path for all the copy text, Now similarly we will have files.copy, and which are the source destination, and there is standard copy option. There is a standard copy option also that replace existing, which will replace the existing one, because that will already from existing one. Files.move, it will move all the source, moves all the source path by the path that I got from here, that will give path. It has file.move that has two parameters. First is source, another is path.get, that is path.get that will get all the paths from this move text. Yeah. Now standard copy options, dot replace existing. Replace all the existing path with the standard copy options, and file dot delete existing destination, that will have the destinations, and it will delete the existing files. Now channel and buffer intro. Now coming to the channel represents they are the representation of file, socket, file, socket, etc. And buffer, they container for data like byte buffer. They are the container for data for byte buffer. We'll import this from java.io, java.nio.byte buffer. We'll import this from java.nio.buffer from or byte buffer, and import other classes from import java.nio.channel.file channel. And similarly, we will copy other files as import java.io.star. Now we have there is a class channel example which has a main method line which shows IO exception. Now file in output stream for FOS, for file output stream FOS will make an object with a new input stream region, and get input stream region which will get all the input from the channel.text, which will get all the input from channel.text. Yeah, FOS will got get all the FOS from channel.text. Now file channel this channel is the object of this file channel FOS output for output system output system. We will be getting FOS.get channel. We will be getting the channel from we will be getting all the channel from this FO FOS get channel for the channel from this FOS. Yeah. Now we have the byte buffer. This byte buffer have the object buffer, and byte buffer allocate 64. This byte buffer will allocate 64 byte space. Yeah. Buffer put here it will put hello NIO dot get bytes. It will put hello NIO. This will put message. This will put this message. Yeah. This will put message. This message dot get bytes. It will get all the bytes. It will get all the bytes from the channel we have provided here, from all the channels we have provided here. And similarly on getting the bytes, is buffer dot flip. Switch to next mode. It will change this mode by buffer dot flip. So channel dot write, we will be writing all these channel from this buffer. We will be writing all the buffer channels to this, all the buffers to this channel. And so when we started the channel, so we need to close that. So channel dot close and FOS dot close. So channel dot close and FOS dot close. If you can also use file channel. You can also use file channel or dot open path with standard or open option for advanced NIO file access. If you want to gain advanced NIO file access, we have to use file channel dot open path for standard open option. Now coming to the directory handling, you have to import this from java.nio.file.start. You have to import this class from java.nio.file.start. Now which has the class directory example. It has the class directory example, and it has a main method line following the shows exception, which will shows exception, and it has the directory path dir equals path.get my folder. It will get my folder. It will get the directory from the my folder. Get all the directory from the my folder. And if file exists for this directory, if the directory if this for this directory which will be got from my folder, and if the file exists for this directory, files dot create directory. This will create a directory. This will create a directory for this directory. For this directory, this files will be created. And there is a try block for this try directory stream with the generic path as stream. The generic path as stream equals files dot new directory stream, which will have the new directory stream from the directory, which will have which will now the new file new directory which we provided, which will create a new directory stream. We will be creating a new directory stream, and for that we have the advanced for loop, and for every entry in the stream, we'll get file name. We'll get every file name for every entry in the stream by first entry dot get file name. We'll get all the file names present in entry of the stream, and by entry dot get file name method here. which will be printed here. System.out by system.out and entry.get file name method. Yeah. Now exception handling. Now here exception handling, all NIO methods throws or unchecked IO exception throws IO this NIO method. These NIO methods will throw IO exception method or unchecked IO exception as well. For best practices, we should try with use resources. With resources, we should for best practices we should use try with resources when working with channel and string. We should be using for best practices. We should be using try with resources when working with channel streams. So here in this class, we went through creating a file, input and output 3 times for a text integer, and reading and displaying the file using files.read.lines, and using files.copy to duplicate the file, and then move it to a new directory. Then finally we move it to a new directory. Use file channel. We have the use file channel. You have the use file channel and byte buffer. Write hello in your file. Now here we got through all these things like file path, check path, the path or paths, file paths, file operations, the files operations of operations such as copying, buffering, everything. We went through all these things. Input output performance like file channels and byte buffer. For input output performance, we have the key classes as file channel and byte buffer, and for the directory OPS output file, we have the files and directory streams. Now coming to the end, we move on to the next class. Till then, thanks.